to give you some indication of the controversial nature of some of the issues that we're going to talk about today. This is an email that I got, an excerpt of an email from a Swiss lawyer this morning. Lawyer, in-house counsel for a Swiss bank. Compliance is not really my cup of tea. Personally, I see it more like another obstacle in doing business. It keeps numerous people busy in the banks, people who usually do not have any knowledge about the bank's specific business. We try to avoid them as much as possible. So it's not all a universal value. What I do think is that I do think first, as we talk about these issues, that we need to define our terms, because the compliance that my Swiss friend is talking about is a little bit different from the compliance that lawyers talk about. And so this slide simply says compliance with what? To a lawyer, we're talking about compliance with laws. To a compliance officer or somebody who takes this kind of approach like my Swiss friend, I think he's thinking of it as compliance with a bunch of rules. Okay, here's what you got to do. Here's how you're going to do it. Implement this, implement that, and hey, you'll be fine. No question about why you're doing it. No question about what the ultimate objectives are. No question about the what you're going to do and how you're going to position the company in case of risk that is presented by the kind of threat that this particular law is aimed at. And this is, I think, a big difference also in education between the approach of a conventional business school education in compliance and a law school's approach to compliance education, because in a law program you're going to learn more about the reasons for the rules that you have to comply with and how to anticipate legal problems and changes in those laws, how to resolve controversies, and how to position the company's situation so as to strengthen its arguments in case of a dispute with regulators, with investors, with consumers, customers, with employees. Well, why worry about compliance after all? There are some significant reasons. Number one is called Clause 49. Many of you may know about Clause 49. It is a provision of a listing agreement which SEBI has approved in India, which basically makes the CEO and CFO of a listed company personally liable, makes them guarantors of compliance in the company. And as a compliance officer or a vice president in charge of compliance, that makes your job not just the job of making sure that the company is compliant. Your job is also to protect the purse of your boss. That's a pretty important job. Disclosures to investors, mergers and acquisitions, keeping your regulators happy, complying with covenants, financial covenants in your loan obligations, potential liabilities to employees, to investors, to consumers, risks of fines and penalties. These are all reasons to worry about compliance. Well, I'm going to talk about 5 hot issues. And hot issue number 1 is IFRS, the International Financial Reporting System. And this is a hot issue, particularly in India, because India is on the verge of its first compliance date, April 1st of 2011. Now, why is this a big deal? Well, it's a big deal for a number of reasons, and obviously it's a big deal on the accounting side. All of the accounting firms are having a field day with this, and companies are paying a lot of money to their accounting firms because they're having a field day with this. But also, it's a big deal because of legal risks, compliance risks that are presented by the conversion to IFRS. IFRS, for example, redefines capital, and it's going to affect things like the debt covenants, whether you're in compliance with your loan obligations. It's going to affect your borrowing base for borrowing-based loans. It's going to affect capital requirements of your financial institution. You got to worry about these things. If you're issuing securities, an IPO or otherwise, you have to worry about disclosures that you make to potential investors. You have to worry about the reports that you make annually or otherwise to your existing investors. You have to worry about compensation arrangements that you have with your senior executive officers that are based in some respect on the financial condition of the company. This is all going to be affected by the changes in IFRS. Hot issue number 2 is AML and KYC. There are existing continued risks that have been talked about in India.